sabi niya, yun nga, nire-relay sa akin yung balita na apparently papayagan na si dating Senador Laila de Lima, no, na mag-bail ng isang munting lupa court, no. So yun siguro mainit-init yun kasi pauwi ako ng bahay, yun ang balita eh. So doon siguro natin pag-usapan, no, doon natin siguro simulan. Ano ba ang ano mo dito? Ano ba ang take mo rito?
Well, I already wrote about that in October 22. Okay. Ano pa yan? Hindi pa ako. medyo naniniwala pa ako na noong mga panahon na yon merong what's this? Medyo naniniwala pa ako nun kay BBM. This was in October 2022, no? Ikaw naman kasi, no, Prof. Van, hindi ka na naniniwala sa kanya 2021.
Oo, magaga ako. Oo.
Mas maaga kang nauntog, no? At anyway, ako naman kasi, Prof. Van, I contextualize it with what's going to happen in December 2023. Sa December 2023 kasi mag-e-expire ang GSP Plus. Ay, bakit umuulit ako? Umuulit pa. Nag-echo pa ba ako?
Hindi na, okay na.
Okay. So, meron kasing GSP Plus trade deal ang Pilipinas with EU. So, this is a one-way tariff-free. So, open kasi ito sa mga parang mga developing countries or whatever na selected products nila can enter the EU tariff-free. And it was expire siya, for 6,274 different types of goods. EU duty-free. And mag-expire siya ng 2023. And now, alam naman natin na si Digong is talagang renegade to, no? Binangga talaga niya ang kaluraning bansa. At isa dito ay ang EU. Ngayon, sa kasawaang palad, maraming network itong si Laila, no? Because the Liberal Party is a very internationalized political party. Meron sa international network, kasama na dyan sa EU. At hindi lang yung Liberal Party, pati na rin itong Akbayan, which is a social democrat political party. And of course, the Communist Party of the Philippines. So malaking network nila sa EU. And maybe because of the lobbying and etc. Sa EU kasi, you know, the trade deals are negotiated by the EU Commission, but it has to be approved by the EU Parliament. Ngayon, last year, nagpahiwatig ng EU Parliament na magdidemand sila, okay? 627, can you imagine, with a vote of 627 over 705 sa EU Parliament, nag-adapt sila ng resolution demanding several things. Ang ilan dito ay, pakinggan mo, Prof. Van, pakinggan mo, i-allow ang ICC prosecutor na mag-investiga sa Pilipinas, make the Philippines a member of the ICC again, release Laila de Lima, and abolish the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. At kakibat nung abolish NTF-ELCAC is so itigil yung red tagging. So ano na yung mga nakita natin, no? From October 2022, nung sinulat ko to, hanggang ngayon. One, nag-backpedal na sila dun sa red tagging, di ba? Yung PCO nga, sinabi, hindi po kami mag-red tag or whatever. And then, wala nang pa ng NTF-ELCAC, no? We don't, parang, it's not as aggressive as the NTF-ELCAC during the Duterte administration. Right? And then, of course, Laila de Lima has been released. On bail. Pero sunod-sunod na yan if you got released on bail, di ba parang kay ano yan kay GMA on bail tapos na-dismiss yung kaso. And then of course, isa na lang is yung allow the ICC prosecutor which would probably happen because di ba merong recent statement na pag-aaralan daw nila ng DOJ about itong ICC. Anong pag-aaralan mo when the president already said na no engagement, tapos bilang pag-aaralan? So, ayun ang basa ko dito, no? Na these are part of the demands of the West kay Bongbong for whatever deal they have with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
So,
remember,
in
a
short,
lot of the frozen and remember, a lot of the frozen fruits and vegetables are in EU.
yeah. At alam natin kung sino yung mga nag-e-export nitong mga vegetables na to, no? Somewhere down south. No? But okay. So ang lumalabas dito is that inihingi nila na kapalit ng trade benefits na ito ay ang sovereignty ng ating bansa, 'di ba? Yun ang lumalabas, no? Kasi apparently, no, people might think that this is a personal attack on Rodrigo Duterte, and it probably is, 'di ba, no? And it probably is. Pero ang ano dito is, I think, no, and I'm sure you will have your own thoughts about this, ano. Pero ang lumalabas kasi talaga dito, ang thinking ng West dito is they cannot allow an insignificant, insolent, little populist leader from a third world country to challenge the authority of the mighty West, 'di ba? I think kasi kung iisipin mo yan, sino ba talaga sa mga yan ang nakakilala kay Laila de Lima? Alam mo yon, sino ba talaga ang, 'di ba? So hindi nga nila malamang alam, no? Hindi nga nila malamang alam na as Justice Secretary, 'di ba? Laila de Lima defied the orders of the Supreme Court, 'di ba? No, na i-allow si si former President Gloria Arroyo, 'di ba? Na mag-travel, dinefy na 'yon. Actually,
dinefy din niya yung order ng UN. 'Di ba meron doon complaint si Gloria sa United Nations parang Committee on Arbitrary Detention. Sinabi noon, Gloria was arbitrarily detained. Ang sabi nga ni Gloria noon. Parang, basically, Laila de Lima during that time, sinabi rin yung parang sinabi ni Duterte na bakit kayo nakikialam sa aming judiciary. At ang nakaloka niyan, Van, ang lawyer no ni Gloria sa UN, I see Amal Clooney.
Yeah, correct. No, I was about to say the same thing, no? Yung asawa ni George Clooney na isang famous na international human rights lawyer, 'di ba? Kasi itong people in the West, ano to tawag nito, sumasabak sila sa mga specific issues without really understanding yung mga backgrounds no pinapasukan nilang pinapasukan nilang mga gulo. So I think yun nga, no? They did not like the fact that when Rodrigo Duterte was president, kina-challenge niya yung authority ng West, no? Paulit-ulit minumura ni President Duterte at the time ang European Union tsaka ang United States, no? So I think more than personal din ito against Rodrigo Duterte because he is that guy who challenged the authority of the West, no? But more than that, I think ang ayaw talaga nila dito ay ma-encourage yung mga maliliit na bansa na alam mo yon na pumalag sa European Union at saka sa United States. What do you think? You agree with that?
Well, I think pumalag na naman sa kanila eh. I think ang ano ko lang kasi sa Pilipinas kasi it's alam mo naman ang Pilipinas, it's the exhibit A of the United States na pwede ang import mo yung democracy sa ibang bansa. And Rodrigo Duterte is like for them is the anti-democrat, anti-democracy leader na parang malaking sampal sa kanila itong itong si PRRD, tapos minura-mura pa sila na kasi nga, hanggang ngayon naman, hindi pa naman umaalis sa United States yung kaisipan na we are just another real estate that they bought from Spain, no? And masakit yung ginawa niya, lalo na yung minura mo yung presidente ng Amerika. No one has ever done that, no? In such a fashion na existing world leader na imagine piniay niya ang presidente ng empire, ang presidente ng empire. So that's a huge insult for them. And the United States doesn't really take insult easily. So I think
sorry, continue.
Kaya nga itong si Laila, matagal na naman itong hinihiling nila si Laila na mapalaya, no? Kasi nga the Liberal Party is the American party in the Philippines. It's the most Americanized political party, and isa rin naman ang America sa nagtaguyod ng LP, no? So it's the most connected sa kanilang party. It's the most westernized political party in the Philippines. So talagang they will look after their own. Na parang si Maria Ressa, di ba? Can you imagine? Nagka-Nobel Peace Prize siya dahil ang kalaban niya ay si Duterte. So makikita natin talagang asar talaga sila kay Duterte, no? Kasi can you imagine, all of a sudden meron ka Nobel Peace Prize just because you went against Duterte. While Julian Assange, who has been, celebrated all over the world, never been given a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, kaya nga. So, yun nga tama ito, no? Kumbaga pag tinignan mo ito bilang chess board, ang tingin talaga nila sa Pilipinas, mga pawns lang ito, no? Sa kanilang global geopolitics. So, I think ang issue talaga dito is the West will not tolerate defiance on the part of itong mga pesky populist leaders. Kasi naalala ko, binandel nila si President Duterte. Tawan-tawa nga ako noon noong mga panahon na yon. Kasi binabandel siya, sinasama siya kay Xi Jinping, sinasama siya kay
Orban. Kay Orban.
Oo, si Vladimir Putin, yung Brazilian, sino na yung Brazilian yun?
Bolsonaro.
Basta may Brazilian leader. Ayun, yan. Yan, the guy. So, parang feeling ko, parang, alam mo yun, there are certain similarities there, no? Pero, it's not completely accurate. No, it's not completely accurate kasi i-remind ko lang yung mga kababayan natin, no. President Duterte, no, came from the fringes. Alam mo 'yon, Davao City mayor siya with no national level exposure, alam mo 'yon, bago siya maging president. No national level exposure. Now, of course, Davao City is an important city in Mindanao. Pero pag nirank mo ang mga cities in the country in terms of importance, swerte na kung nasa top 10 ng Davao City. Diba? Kasi siyempre, yung mga cities in Metro Manila, mag-uunahan yun. Manila, Quezon City, Makati. That's outside of Metro Manila, nandyan pa nga Cebu, Iloilo, diba, no? So, Davao, hindi naman talaga maliit yung Davao, no? Or hindi naman talaga unimportant yung Davao. I mean, in Mindanao politics, Davao is important, but at the national level, hindi siya kahilingan ng mga ibang more important cities. Hindi siya kagaya ni Binay. Binay, di ba? Mayor din. Pero Makati is the financial center of the country. Those are two different things, no? So, kumbaga, pag inihilera nila, kasi alam mo, pag Xi Jinping did not become leader of China overnight. Alam mo yun, di ba? Alam nila yung career ni Xi Jinping, di ba? Rose through the ranks yan eh.
Well, you cannot be you cannot be the chair of the Communist Party of
Yes.
China overnight. It's impossible.
Correct. Maski nga maski si Vladimir Putin, hindi yan
Not
overnight leader eh. Yan overnight leader, di ba, no? So, iba yung context ni President Duterte when he rose to power in 2016 compared to yung mga iba. So, bunch up na lang nila kasi in reality, parang ito yung listahan natin na ikaw number 1, ako number 24. Pinagsama-sama nila lahat ng mga enemies, alam mo yun, enemies of the West, di ba? Nilistan nila yun doon na hindi nga alam, hindi mo malinaw kung anong pagkakapare-parehas na itong mga to eh.
Actually, ang pinagkakaiba kasi nila is yung who cannot take orders from the West. Kasi, like for example, i-separate natin si Orban, no? Siya yung gawin natin case study. Hungary is in the EU. But, si Orban, nagre-resist siya sa mga kautusan ng Brussels. And that's the only that's the reason why he's there. Hindi naman nila mas parang sinasabi nga nila ba populist daw kasi nga 'di ba yun yung trend nila doon, 'di ba? The rise of populism, ganyan, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Nagulat nga ako bakit ganyan si Xi Jinping. Wala namang personality politics sa China. You are owned by the party, no? Well, hindi siya yung okay ako Xi Jinping ako. It's not like even in Russia si Putin. I remember they interviewed Alexander Dugin, yung kinakatakutan nilang intellectual ng Russia, no? Kasi nga siya talaga yung very sinasabi nila very right wing. Sabi niya, bakit yung may inaano si Putin na akala nyo is nandyan lang siya. No, this is what the demands of our society na someone like Putin rise to the top. Alam mo yan na parang ito yung ano namin kasi nga you have to understand Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union was finding its ground. Can you imagine? Disintegrate yung buong Soviet Union yun talaga yung biglang where are you going? So ang ano nito, they are hindi sila sumusunod tama ka doon Prof Man, hindi sila sumusunod sa kagustuhan ng West, no? And so, si Orban talaga yung pinaka telltale sign doon kasi nasa EU siya, Hungary is a EU member country but they cannot make him just obey, whatever the EU wants. And katulad dito ng Russia, nakatulad dito ng China, katulad dito ng Brazil. And syempre, add one out doon ang Pilipinas. Kasi ano ba naman yung Pilipinas in the constellation of power in the world, no? If we get taken out of the world map, nobody would miss us, no? Parang it's nothing. Pero ang ano kasi doon ni Duterte is naging famous kasi siya
Yeah.
He was covered and everyone of parang nandito ako sa China no, nag-aaral ako, ang karamihan ng mga estudyante dito galing Global South. They always ask me about Duterte. How was your leader Duterte? Oh, he's like the ang tingin sa kanya is the anti-imperialist, Western hegemony, ganyan. So yun yung pagkakakilala sa kanya sa Global South kay Duterte. Of course, sa West, ibang pagkakakilala sa kanya. Pagkakakilala sa kanya is human rights violator, crimes against humanity, bastos, walang ganyan. So
misogyny at kung ano-ano pa mga ganyan, di ba?
Yes.
Kasi wala din nga talaga silang nuanced understanding of Filipino culture. Kaya nga, alam mo, in the West, di ba, parang flabbergasted sila na how can this guy, no, just as you described, no, bastos, misogynistic, di ba, etc., etc. How can this guy have more than 90% approval rating? Hindi nila naiintindihan yung mga bagay na yon, ano? So that's why ang inisip nila i-compare nila kay kay Trump, no? Kaya nga alam mo, kaya nga dito importante yung role ni Maria Ressa Kasi si Maria Ressa immediately after the 2016 election, Di ba sumulat siya nung piece niya na yon sa sa may Rappler na ako tawan-tawa ako talaga dun eh. Kasi yun yung sinabi niya, yung mga bots, di ba? Yung mga trolls, yung mga ganon, yun na nagpanalo kay Duterte. Tawan-tawa ako dun. Kasi nagpaka-scholarly kuno si Maria Ressa to. So meron siyang mga studies na sinight. In-expose ko nga yun eh. Kasi yung isang study na sinight niya, ang basis pala ng study na yun, ang data ng study na yun, ay galing din kay Maria Ressa. Alam mo yun?
Yeah, exactly. Self-referencing. Self-referencing.
So parang, ginamit niya yung study na yun to bolster her claim. Pero yung study na yun, ang ginamit din lang ay si Maria Ressa. Tama ka sa self-referencing.
Maganda yung actually it's a brilliant tactic na ikinumpare si Duterte kay Trump. You know why? Because in the West, Trump has a bad image, but Duterte as Duterte would have a good image in Europe. Kasi nga, for example, the Europeans are really anti-American, no? They malakas yung left sentiment sa Europe. Pero ayaw nila kay Trump. Gets mo yun? Gusto nila kay Obama, pero ayaw nila kay Trump. So comparing constant repetition na si Duterte and Trump ay pareho, ay ang na-associate na nila kay Duterte is Trump, so they hate him. Parang I can remember, Professor Van, kailan man nanalo si Duterte? 2016. So I just graduated during the time. Mga fresh pa lang ako graduate ka ng undergrad, no? So my classmates, one of my classmates asked me, you know, he's a registered part siya ng parang Green Party sa Netherlands. Sabi niya sa akin, Sas, all the news that we're hearing about Duterte is this, and you're supporting him. It's not who you are. So is there something that we don't know? So nag-meet kami dinner, tapos kinento ko sa kanya, ganyan. Alam mo sabi niya sa akin, you know what's the problem of Duterte? PR. Ginanin niya. Sabi niya sa akin, siya yung nagsabi sa akin na, this is what, kasi of course he knows European politics, no? Sabi niya, you know what, this is what they're going to do. They're going, kasi nga the businesses in Europe are very connected to the government at maano sa kanila sa human rights. So what they're gonna do, sabi niya ganyan, is they're going to highlight the human rights issue, etc. And that would actually resonate with the people, and then the people would demand that European businesses move out of the Philippines. Sabi niya ganyan. So sabi niya, the problem with your president is really PR. So sabi niya nga sa akin na dito sa Europe kasi, we are allergic to popular leaders. Allergic talaga. Kaya nga,
that's correct.
Pag ang leader meron trust rating na 60%, 50%, katulad kay Duterte, nanginginig na yung mga yan kasi nga allergic na sila because of their history, because Hitler, Mussolini, all of these are really, really popular leaders. And na-trauma na sila pag popular ang leader. Kaya they look down on Orban, who is really popular. Kasi nga, in European history, their past popular leaders will turn out to be mass murderers, parang ganyan, or yun na yung kanilang association doon. So it's not really about Duterte himself. Kaya nga magagaling ang mga propagandista ng left eh. When I was in the Netherlands, merong ako inattendan na forum. Ang mga talking points talaga nila, Van, lahat ng makakaantig sa puso ng mga European, anti-Duterte, anti-gay, Duterte, anti-disabled, Duterte, Kaya nga sabi ko, their propaganda was like, I think that was effective. Kaya nga nagkaroon ng European Parliament resolution na gano'n.
Pero yung approach na yon, yung propaganda na yon, made a lot of sense. Because domestically, walang naniniwala sa kanila eh. Walang naniniwala sa kanila dito sa Pilipinas. That's why yung naging approach nila was to go internationally, particularly in the West. Doon sila nangampanya para atakihin si President Duterte, no? Paano naman kasi hindi din, in fairness, hindi din pinrioritize kasi ni President Duterte yung pag-PPR sa ibang bansa, no? Kasi parang ang feeling niya, ang feeling niya kasi unnecessary expense. Malaking gastos kasi yan kung nag-PR siya doon, no? So, ano tawag nito? So, yun nga yung problema. Kasi I also remember, no? Magkakasabay-sabay kasi ito no? May mga sumusulat nga dito sa Pilipinas, di ko na maalala kung si Darian o kung sino man. Nagsusulat nga na namamatay na ba ang liberal international at lalamunin na ba sila? Kasi muntik nang talunin ni Le Pen sa may France. Sino itong, nakakalimutan ko yung pangalan nila, yung French Prime Minister, si Macron, oo. Diba? Kasi dikit yung laban na yun between Macron and Le Pen. So, natatakot sila, no? And this was on the heels of Boris Johnson and those guys in the United Kingdom, no? Pagkatapos there was another guy, nakalimutan ko yung pangalan, sa may Belgium, 'di ba? Tapos meron pa, basta naglilitawan yung mga yan So, ninenervyos sila roughly around the same time that President Duterte emerged from the Philippines, na parang ang feeling nila, merong global anti-liberal democracy movement, no? Yun yung naramdaman nila. So that's the reason why sinuwerte din niya ang Liberal Party kasi normally wala namang papansin sa Liberal Party internationally kasi katulad nga na sinabi mo, napaka-insignificant ng Philippines in the international arena, no? Kaya lang na-pick up matalino din, in fairness to the Liberal Party, matatalino din itong mga to. Na-pick up nila kasi ano sila yung tenga nila sa Europe, alam mo yon, sa Europe, sa Amerika, mas alam pa nga nila ang politika sa Europa at saka sa Amerika kaysa politika sa Pilipinas So that's the reason why ikinabit nila doon sa fear ng mga European, sa fear ng West, no, that the populist leaders were, taking over the whole world.
Hindi, yun na nga. Kasi nga, ang Europeans talaga, they are allergic to populists. Sa popular, yung mga popular leader, no, they're very allergic dyan. Whether from the left or the right, they are allergic there. Kasi ang karamihan ng European politics, they prefer to be at the center. So yan, yaan talaga ang kasi ang karamihan dyan, parliamentary system. So it tends to go sa center ang politics. So extreme right ka or extreme left ka, allergic yan. So itong si Duterte, na-hit niya talaga ang lahat ng button na may trauma ang Europeans, lalo na nung nagbiro si PRRD na, well, they're comparing me to Hitler who killed 3 million Jews. So me, I will kill 3 million addicts. So that cemented Duterte's image sa Europe na, oh my God, this has possibility of becoming like a Hitler. Kasi nga, bakit niya sinabi yun? Although yung pagkakasabi ni Duterte kasi, it was just like riding doon sa sinasabi ng Liberal Party na siya si Hitler. Pero ang kagalingan pa dito nung propagandista nila, no? Hindi nila walang report. Can you imagine, walang report sa Europe. Yung ginawa ni Duterte the next day na pumunta siya sa Jewish synagogue sa Makati at nagsorry siya sa mga Jews. It was never reported. Kaya nga sabi ng mga kaklase ko, nangyari ba talaga yan? Sigurado ka? Yes, and I sent it to them, but they never really learned about it. Kasi nga, may maintain kasing narrative, no? Na si Duterte ay ganito. So, pag umiwas doon sa narrative na yon, wala na.
Kaya nga, mahirap talaga yung sitwasyon ni President Duterte because, no, naalala ko, lumbawa si Darian, no, nag-reach out yan May mga nagsabi sa akin, nag-reach out yan sa, sa Duterte government. Alam mo yon. So, siya...
Anong klaseng reaching out ba to?
wag na, let's be as vague as possible. No? So, siya, may mga ilang intellectuals, mga media personalities, alam mo yon, kasi nag-expect din sila, no? Wala namang loyalties kasi yung mga yan eh. Wala namang loyalties yung mga yan. Kahit nga sa ideolohiya, walang loyalty yan eh. No? Everybody wants to be in the good graces of Malacanang, especially ang media. Kasi ang media, no? Ewan ko kung nanonotice ng mga kababayan natin ito, over the past couple of decades, wala nang pera ang media eh. So wala na silang funds to support research, wala na silang funds to follow up stories, etc. etc. So media, umaasa na lang yan sa binibigay sa kanila ng mga politiko. So alam mo yun, pag may lumabas yan silang expose, ang nangyayari dyan, si politician A, nagalit kay politician B, yun ang maglalabas ng dirty linen against kay politician B, tas gagamitin nila yon, ano? Pagkatapos, mamagicin na lang ng media yan para humaba yung storya. Alam namin yan eh, kasi sa academic community, wala nang ginawa yan, kundi magtatawag ng mga historians, ng mga magi-interview. Alam mo yun, wala kasi sila talagang wala silang legwork for research, wala silang tapos gusto nila may talking heads para, alam mo yun, tapos na yung problema nila, no? So, kaya lang ang problema kasi kay President Duterte, again, hindi niya kinonsider na ito ay essential na expenses. Alam mo, hindi niya kinonsider yung PR na essential expense, no? So parang feeling niya, waste of money yan, no? So anong nangyari? Nagutom ang buong mainstream media establishment kasi hanggang ngayon kitang-kita naman eh. Kitang-kita naman, di ba? Di ba? May mga alagang, alam mo naman sa kung paano. Pag nagbabasa ka ng dyaryo, alam mo kung sino mga alaga ng Malacanang, ng Kongreso, at ng kung sino-sino. Kasi makikita mo dun sa report, ayoko lang magano.
Hindi, meron na, kasi yan sila eh. I think, meron kasing disruptive technology eh. Kaya nawalan ang mainstream media, and that is social media, no? Saka yung emergence ba ng non-traditional ways of getting your entertainment, for example, may YouTube, may Netflix. So talagang nagutom talaga actually nawawala yung income stream nila is nababawasan na kasi nga bakit ka nga naman naasa sa traditional media kung ang mga tao ngayon mas kumukuha na ng through social media, 'di ba? Pwede ka naman parang pwede ka na nga lang mag-YouTube eh, no? Like you can totally remove physical infrastructure ng mainstream media and then just reduce it into one bedroom and then that's it. Pero yun na nga, nung kay Duterte kasi, kaya hindi rin siya nag-focus internationally, kasi Duterte's focus is to put the house in order.
Correct.
Alam mo yun?
Yeah. Correct.
Anong pakialam niya sa outside ano yung tingin ng panlabas sa Pilipinas kung yung loob naman ng bahay mo sira-sira. So he was focusing on fixing putting the house in order, and whenever you put the house in order you have to break a lot of bones.
Correct.
Kaya yan yung dilema sa Pilipinas eh. Alam natin ang problema sa Pilipinas, no? Alam yan ng mga historian, alam yan ng mga political commentator, etc. The thing is, who is willing to keep to dirty his or her hands in order to do that? Duterte dipped his hands into the mud, no? It got dirty, really dirty because it's really dirty. Pero habang ginagawa mo yan, yung observer sa labas, sasabihin na, violation, human rights violation, etc., etc. And of course, may incentive kasi yung mga taong tatapakan ni Duterte sa loob na pumunta sa labas para yun ang gamitin na irahin siya. Kaya kita mo ngayon, Bongbong Marcos got elected by a majority vote. It's unprecedented in our living memory, no? And this is actually the best time for you to put the house in order because you have a majority vote. But he's not doing that. Kasi ang interest ni Marcos is redemption. He wanted to divorce his name and the future his pawns from the FTM.
Napaka-generous mo naman. Napaka-generous mo. Ako, nakikita ko, walang nangyayari kasi wala na siyang energy para, alam mo yan, to do anything. No? Wala siyang napaka-generous mo eh. No? Yeah, but I think yung kay President Duterte, going back to President Duterte, I think may context din eh kung bakit nag-agree ako dun sa house cleaning na putting the house in order, no? And I think ang explanation dyan, kasi ang difference ni President Duterte with all the other presidents is that yung ibang president, for example, Cory Aquino, no? Housewife yan, pero may Aquino name yan, tas Coangco yung pamilya niya. Meron siyang network. Alam mo yon, meron siyang network. Fidel Ramos was a soldier, pero yung tatay niya, no? Yung tatay niya, tapos kapatid niya si Leti Ramos Shahani, di ba, no? Tapos tsuhin niya si Simeon Valdez. Sabi-sabi, meron din siyang network dyan, no? Sino po ba? Lalo, may Aquino, inulit na natin. Gloria Arroyo, naku, lalo na, di ba? Anak pa ng presidente yan, di ba? But President Rodrigo Duterte came out of nowhere talaga. Came out of nowhere kasi tignan mo yung background niya. Siya, yung tatay niya na si Vicente Duterte, puro sila mga local politicians. Alam mo yun, puro sila mga local politicians. Pag-akyat at the national level, outsider ang tingin sa kanya. No? Outsider ang tingin sa kanya kasi hindi talaga siya, alam mo yun, hindi talaga siya chummy-chummy with all of the national of political operators. So tama ka, yung gagawin niya, kailangan ayusin niya yan. No? In short, ayusin niya para mailagay niya yung sarili niya on the way things are run at the government level. Kaya tama ka, wala nang oras to worry about international public opinion kasi yung time niya consumed na by domestic issues, di ba?
Oo,
kasi lahat ng tao kontra sa kanya sa totoo lang. Di ba?
Oo, saka
parati namin niya yung sinasabi. Ayan, sige, continue.
Hindi, kasi ang namin yung the country is on the verge of being a narco state. Maybe it became a narco state again, no, during this time. Yeah. Pero nga, iba yun yung ano nga niya, di ba? May mga napatumba talaga na mga narco politicians talaga, marami actually. Marami talaga. I talked to a former official and sabi talaga niya, marami talaga sa napatumbang narco politician, napilayan talaga. So, ayun na nga lang, no? It's continued. So, it's going to be back with a vengeance. And I think we're gonna see them, slowly rebuilding what's left of the narco kingdom na talaga winasak talaga ni Duterte. And I think what we are going to see right now is rebuilding of everything that Duterte broke during his time.
Correct.
Kita mo, oligarchy is back with a vengeance.
Correct.
Ang Liberal Party is slowly going back with a vengeance, di ba? Inuunti-unti yung yellow eh. At number 3, America is back with a super vengeance, super saiyan.
Yun ang pinaka talaga. Yan ang number 1 on the list. America. Diba? Kaya nga. But here's the thing nga. Ito, ilang nga namin to pinag-usapan eh. Kasi kala ng mga tao, when Rodrigo Duterte became president, siya yung pinaka-powerful guy in the country. But that's wrong eh. That's wrong. Kasi, alam mo, maski nga doon sa pelikula ni Joe Pesci na With Honors, sabi niya, the president is a bum. Kasi, the president can only be president kapag inelect siya ng tao. Tapos, in the case of the United States, may election after 4 years, di ba, no? Sabihin, hindi ka po pwede maging president forever, no? Kailangan ni President Duterte are yung mga pillars of power na permanent, no? Like the church, di ba? Nakabangga niya yung Catholic Church, eh. Permanent na power yan, eh. Yung academe, no? Nakalaban niya yung academe, permanent din yan, di ba? So marami siyang mga yung mga oligarchs, di ba? Yung mga oligarchs na kalaban niya, halos permanent din yan, di ba? Now, babalikan ko yung yung sinabi mo about narco-politics, ano? Kasi ako may take ako dito, no? Over the past 30, 40, 50 years, nawasak yung Pilipinas, eh. Unang nawasak yung manufacturing sector na we no longer, di ba? Pag-usapan na natin to before, eh. Philippines no longer a manufacturing country. We used to be before, but now no more, no? Tapos dati, we were an agricultural country, no? Pero ngayon, aside from the bananas, mangoes, and things like that, we're no longer an agricultural country. Rice nga, ini-import natin, eh. Fish, ini-import natin, di ba? So, ano nangyayari? Wala nang viable business sa Philippines na po pwedeng pagkunan ng pera ng mga traditional politicians except drugs. Di ba? Drugs. Kasi, walang ano bang pinaka-viable business sa Philippines? Yung mga business process outsourcing. Alam mo yung business process outsourcing, kailangan maging totoong business yan, eh. Alam mo yun, kung ikaw politiko at gusto mong kumuha ng pera, kailangan marunong ka magnegosyo dyan, eh. Alam mo yun, that is a kind of business that you have to run, you have to manage. Alam mo yun, hindi ganyan ang mga politicians natin, mga absentee yan, eh. No? So ayaw nila ng mga businesses na you cannot run autopilot. Alam mo yun, so I think that's the reason why sa kanila attractive sa kanila yung business ng drugs. Kasi ang business ng drugs, alam mo, pag nandoon ka sa itaas, tatanggap ka na lang ng tatanggap ka na lang ng remittances, eh, no? Parang parang sugal. Parang weteng. Oo, correct. Parang weteng, no? Pag-press talaga tayo. Press tayo ng wavelength, no? Parang droga at saka sugal. Diba? Yun, kasi yan, autopilot yan, eh. Uupo ka na lang doon sa taas, pagkatapos maghihintay ka na lang na magre-remit ng pera. So I think yan ang reason. And most of these politicians, no? Especially national level politicians, alam nila yan kasi tuwing election, no? And this is what why Rodrigo Duterte is different from them. Kasi si Rodrigo Duterte mastered the art of running for public office without spending a lot of money. Alam mo yun? So hindi niya kailangan itong mga drug money na to, hindi niya kailangan yung mga gambling money, etc., etc. Pero certain families, no? Certain families, I did not say Marcos or Romualdez, no? I did not say, no? Certain families, no? Tago na lang natin sa mga pangalan nila. Kailangan nila ng pera to run ang mga yellows. They if you remember yung campaign ni Leni Robredo, Diyos ko, grabe ang pera doon, bumabaha yung pera, 'di ba? So they are the ones that need a lot of money during yung mga elections, no? Saan sila kukuha ng pera na yan? Saan sila kukuha ng pera? Diba? Walang Yeah.
Ayun na nga, no?
Yeah, go.
As I mentioned, Prof. Van, they're back in a vengeance. And, of course, kailangan nila ng continuity itong rebuilding ng mga sinirang mga empires there, no? The church, the mainstream media, the oligarchy, etc. Kasi can you imagine, namura mo si Pangilinan at Ayala. At sinabi mo talaga, hindi ko babayaran ito Kung hindi,
Correct.
imagine, natakot mo yung mga oligarko na ganyan at talagang natakot talaga sila, no? So ngayon, itong nangyayari ngayon, it's nasa rebuilding phase sila at kailangan ito ng continuity. And that's why, most probably 2028, well, maswerte tayo kung magkaroon ng election sa 2028 or 2025. You know, for me talaga the primary goal is for them to continue rebuilding the empire and to consolidate again. Kasi nasira sila ni Duterte, no? And who would have thought, no? Ang daan para i-rebuild nila ang kanilang empire is Marcos. So, and I think that nakita mo naman yan, ikaw sa si Maricar, no? You both saw this in 2021 pa lang. Pero I think ang ano nito is, that's why the Duterte in the equation has to be removed. And actually, it's very easy to remove the Duterte in the equation. Kasi, remember, during Duterte's time, wala pa nakakamaster ng social media. You know, it was a very new thing. Pero ngayon, they have already mastered how to manipulate social media. Pretty sure they have agreements with Facebook on algorithms kasi it's very easy to do. So that's why it's very easy to remove the Dutertes from the equation, tapos meron pang ICC hanging on the horizon. And ako nga, yung mga sinasabi ng mga tao, magkaka-people power, I think you're overestimating, you know, the role of mass uprising in the Philippines. You can never have a successful mass uprising if it's not supported by the United States. Peaceful uprising, ha? Kasi the Philippines never had yet its own version, for example, of a French Revolution. We are actually still a very stable, mataas ang elite stability sa akin.
But, wala, hindi ko makita in the near future, or even in medium term, of course, ibang usapan pag yung distant future. Pero hindi ko makita kasi na yung situation ng Philippines will become so bad, just like it was in the 1980s, na yung economic situation is so bad na may encourage yung mga tao na to go out in the streets and, act. No? So nag-agree ako sa iyo. I don't see people power happening anytime in the foreseeable future, no? But ang point nga dito is, at babalik nga tayo kay Laila de Lima, kung saan tayo nagsimula. Ang talaga you can smell it a mile away. Yung kung bakit linabas ng kulungan si Laila de Lima. Kasi iisa lang ang formula nila against a popular and front-running candidate, no? Ito yung B9 formula na ginamit nila noong 2016, no? Kaya lang, kailangan nila ng attack dog. Kasi the attack dog, pag yan ang nangagat, magsasuffer din ng damage yung attack dog. So kailangan yung attack dog mo ay ano tawag nito? Dispensable. No? So, ramdam mo si Laila de Lima, wala na kumandidato na yan nung, di ba, nagtumakbo na yan for re-election, napaka-pitiful nung kanyang performance. No, sinasabi nila, hindi daw nakapangampanya, nasa may kulungan. Pero,
bakit si Trillanes?
Yung votes,
si Trillanes ka sa kulungan.
Correct. Tsaka, ito nga ang pinagtataka ko, bakit hindi pare-parehas yung boto na nakukuha ng mga yellows? Alam mo yon, di ba? Bakit? Ang lalaki ng agwat, di ba? Iba yung nakuha ni Risa Ontiveros, iba yung nakuha ni Laila de Lima, iba yung nakuha ni sino pa ba mga kandidato nila. Iba-iba, no? So parang,
ito Pangilinan.
Ano ba? Oo, di ba? Final words na daw. Di ba? Ito ang hirap dito, kulang isang oras sa atin no?
Late naman kami.
Kaya nga, pero gusto ko lang sabihin, Laila de Lima was brought out of jail for a single purpose, I think, and that is to attack the Dutertes, no? Like a good attack dog. Feeling ko yan ang magiging, yan ang mangyayari diyan, no? Oh, it's all yours.
Well, ang sabi nga, nasa ano na sila, low number 2 of power. Learn how to use armor enemies. So yun yung ano nila, no? Kasi nga ito nga tama yan, Laila de Lima is disposable. Ano naman pakialam nila kay Laila de Lima kung si Laila de Lima yung mag-suffer nung pagiging attack dog laban sa mga Duterte. And of course, pwede naman maghugas kamay na lang itong mga people behind Laila de Lima. Pero ang ano ko lang talaga dyan is they have to remain in power. I think yan ang nasa isipan nila. They have to remain in power until ma-release you. Until ma-defrost ang frozen fruits and vegetables, because they don't have any other time anymore in order to do that. You know, Imelda Marcos is very late of age, and you can only do this when you are actually at the helm of the country. And syempre, the United States will actually give them blue balls. Pag-iintayin ka talaga dyan, no? Kasi nga, hindi pa naman nila nakukuha yung lahat ng gusto nila. And ayun na nga lang, I think it's going to be, we live in very exciting times and dangerous times as well. And sabi nga nila, bilang pagtatapos, history first happens as a tragedy and as farce the second time around. Yeah.
Yun. Maraming salamat. Alam mo, bitin talaga, bitin. Actually, alam mo, dapat pag-usapan eh. Yung sinabi mo na, meron pang dapat may dudugtong doon. But I guess next 1 hour kasi otherwise. Oo nga, next week. Kasi kung binibigyan nila tayo ng maraming oras, naku, aabutin tayo ng isang araw dito or more. Kakakwentuhan ng ganito. So maraming salamat. Number 1, American Colony Traitor. Oo. Thank you very much sa lahat ng mga kapugad na nanonood ngayon. Pasensya, hindi ko na nabasa yung mga comments nyo at hindi ko na yung nabati individually. Pagbalik ni Maricar next week, siya na bahala doon. Maraming salamat. Good evening, everybody.
Bye.